Welcome to this section of designing a school English program. Today, we're going to talk about important aspects that you need to take into account when you start designing a school English program or when you start proposing changing some ideas that your school language program has had for a while. Here you're going to find in this presentation several videos which I am not going to show, but I recommend you take your time and watch each one of them. They are very important and they're going to talk about aspects that are basic for you to know when you design a school English program. So after all this introduction, let's start. Here we go. School English program. This video, I recommend you watch it. It talks about the process of bilingualism in a classroom and what happens when you have multicultural children in your classroom. It's the experience of preschool, elementary, high school, middle school, and even university. You can put it there to the section of university. So here you're going to find many important aspects that will enlighten your voyage through the designing, and maybe some questions that you've had asked yourself, like, is it good to have a child learn 2 languages at a time? Or what happens when a child is learning 2 languages at a time? Aspects like that which are very important for you to understand. So after this, let's take a vision of what it means when you design a school English program. It means that there is a process that has come along before, and it's with the mother tongue. So that's an important aspect we're going to cover, mother tongue. We need to understand what bilingualism asks for us for. When we talk what bilingualism asks us for, we have these guided questions: the what, the who, the where, the when, the how, and the why. As a head start, we need to set ourselves in the legal part. What in our country demands us we should teach. And there we're going to have several aspects. So the legislation aspect is very important. Based on this legislation, we have our fundamental of teaching language theories. Those theories are guided and set in action besides with what demands by the Common European Framework of Language References, the CEFR. So in this section, I invite you to watch the video where Brian North is going to explain how our new descriptors have changed based on 21st century demands. The intercultural, multicultural, plurilingual aspects in the teaching and learning of a language doesn't mean that it never existed before and in the first edition. It means is that there's more emphasis in what we're living in the 21st century, and we're giving them the setting, the main aspects that demands to be intercultural, multicultural, pluricultural. Here you're going to find several tools. Another important aspect is the sustainable goals. The 17 sustainable goals, which being part of the United Nations means that we have to work to fulfill the target goals. When we call ourselves that we are working for a bilingualism in our country, we have some things to take into account. Our suggested curriculum designed by municipalities, states, educators. This has been like a proposal. So we're going to look a little bit about here. Okay. Then we go to our methodologies that help us in the interaction. So we got some proposals. We need to integrate the global learning. And here you're going to find two videos, very important, that we're going to watch. Okay. Our mother tongue language moves based on what our country has helped to guide through the process in the public and private schools. You see that this presentation has a lot of aspects, has a lot of content in it. You have to take your time going through it. Let's start. So here we go, our mother tongue. What do we need to know about our mother tongue? That in schools, Spanish is being taught. We're talking about our context, Colombia, right? So Spanish is being taught. How is it being taught? What is pushed through the process so that the students connect with their identity? Language, our mother tongue, is our identity. The way I learn my mother tongue is the way I'm gonna meet with a new language. So that is something very important for you to learn. If I learn well my mother tongue, my relation with all the languages that comes are going to be related that way, with enthusiasm, wanting to discover more, with a very easy fluency to be acquired along the road. Our mother tongue language, legally we have what we call our grade levels. We got our guides, and we got a minimum of what can be taught by grade, and it's what we call our basic learning rights, BLRs. In Spanish, it's called Derechos Básicos del Aprendizaje, los DBA. Here, you're going to find level by level, grade by grade, what a Spanish language teacher must be teaching her students. Now, this mother tongue language, the way our L1, that we're going to call it our L1, is acquired, is going to connect with the learning process of another language. How I can support myself through my learning process, learning the other language, an L2, and my identity. Okay? That makes us that legally we have, and I'm going to go over here through our legislation. What legislates us? Medellín Construye un Sueño Maestro, which is a guide that was designed for the teaching of all the programs: science, social study, math, English, religion, arts. For English, there's a specific one. Guide 22, which is El Reto es Ahora, the challenge is now, when we start with our Common European Framework for the first time in 2003. Our Law 115, Colombia Bilingüe, the Spanish as a second language, which has been one of the impulses in becoming a bilingual country. And the latest has been Programa Nacional de Bilingüismo Política de Lenguas Extranjeras, where we could give a setting that it's not only learning English as a second language, you got Spanish as a second language, and we got our natives, which learn a second language through. First, it's their native language. Wayús, Kogis, it's their language. Spanish is going to be their second language, and English is going to be their third. And at the same time, we're giving a place, giving more importance to sign language, okay? Brian North tells us here about our Common European Framework language reference, what is new, our new descriptors, how we can see our descriptors from the context of the pluricultural competence, the meaning through the interaction, and outstanding existing categories as reception, production, interaction, and mediation. This is very important. Here, you're going to find a complete explanation of what this calls for us. When I want to do some changes in the school, and I want to put this intercultural activities around. A very important aspect is we cannot deny technology is part of our lives and it came to stay after all the situation of pandemia. So ICT tools, information, communication, and technology tools. Here, watch this video. It's very important. It's very important. Why? Because we're going to see how our framework connected and what we need our students to learn and how us teachers need to take advantage of technology to interact culturally with languages and bring our students to have real life situations interacting with technology as a support. From there, we got another aspect, very important, suggested curriculum. This also was designed in our country, currículo sugerido, and we find it as currículo sugerido de inglés. This is connected with Medellín construye un sueño maestro. You're going to find they have almost the same. But for our country, it's very important to give more and more frameworks, feedback, tools to our teachers so they can bring a second language. In this case, second language as Spanish. But in our Colombian context, we can also talk about a foreign language as English or maybe French or Portuguese. In our case, we're talking about English. Okay. Methodologies. What kind of methodologies are we going to implement? We are called to be flexible, integrate the curriculum, look at competencies and capabilities, do some cross-curriculum, integrate ITCs, and recognize learning styles. Basic. It's very important. Here, it's very important. And for that, we're going to find some supporting methodologies as CLEO. Do you know what CLEO is? It's content and language integrated in learning. That's CLEO. Watch this video. It's very important that you understand how you can put the content in action integrated in your classroom while you're learning a language. Learn social studies, learn math, learn science, learn about environmental issues. Bring your kids, bring your youngsters to nice experiences through CLEO. Task-based learning. We're challenging, we're giving challenges, we're giving tasks to our students. And all these methodologies, you're going to find them, but you can start integrating them one with the other one. Then we got project-based learning, which is very common in our Colombian context to use it for everything. Critical thinking, a very important aspect of curriculum. Critical thinking. How can I put my students to not only read something in English or Spanish? What do I think about it? What position can I assume by it? Debating, analyzing, designing, creating new things. Content-based learning, very important. Case studies. The communicative approach, which is what calls us always. Interaction in the class, always speaking, finding the need to communicate based on something very important. A challenge that I give my students, a project, an exposition, role playing. Jack Richards explained us very clearly how we can use communicative approach to the teaching and learning of a language process. And technology mediation, as I said before, with the situation of pandemia, technology has come to stay in our classes. It's not more, what am I going to do? So here, we need to understand what blended learning is, what e-learning is, mobile learning, gamification. I invite you to watch and go through all this mind map. Watch at the videos, ask yourself questions, look forward to research more about what you find here. I hope you enjoy this presentation, this mind map. I try to do my best, putting the basic information that you need to find in when you're designing. So not being more for the moment, I'll see you in our next video. Thank you very much. Have fun learning and discovering what you find here in this mind map, designing a second language program for a school.